Camera heard you.
Is the tape back on? Tape's on. We're going to get started. Hey, let me tell you what we're going to do next week before we finish up today. We're going to finish the PowerPoint that I started last week. We'll finish that up. We're going to talk about smart growth. Either you will get or have gotten the American Planning Association Policy Guide on Smart Growth. Reason we go through that, we're here to make money. There's people called planners that care about smart growth environment. Let's learn their lingo so we can make them happy so they approve our project so we can make money. But you just can't go in there and say, I want to make money. You got to act like you care about what they care about. Then I'm going to talk to you about the PRZ report compared to hiring a local land use lawyer. You might get a job someday working for a real estate investment trust. A good real estate investment trust, in my opinion, focuses on two things: a region and then a product type. And if I think the Southeast United States is a strong market, and I want to be in apartments in that, I'm going to look for a real estate investment trust to put my money in that focuses on Southeast United States apartments. I don't want them doing warehouses also in Seattle or hotels in Cleveland because they don't have specialty. So a good investor would find REITs that go to certain things at that point. The reason I say that is, if you're going to buy all of the Sears Roebuck stores, say there's 500 of them, and you've got 60 days to do that due diligence, or you're going to take over 1,000 Shell mobile gas stations throughout the United States, you're not going to have time in that to hire the best local land use lawyer to look at every property. So at that point, you call a company up like PRZ and say, here's a list of all these assets. Or, great example, let's assume Ruby Tuesdays, the fast food or the casual dining is going out of business. We're going to take over all their leases. And we've got a really short time period. You want a big scratch, big picture, is it okay? You're not going to do a full, thorough analysis on all of them. A firm like this will give you the basic who, what, why, when, where. That's, as the email has said and will say when you get it, I'm not sure when it's going to get to you. I asked another student who's not here to get it to you. Depending upon the scope of magnitude, depends on how much due diligence. But if you have one piece of property, and you're about to make a major investment on that one piece of property, and that you're betting the farm on that, then you don't get a company like this to tell you what's going on. You better get a local engineer, lawyer, and what have you. But I wanted you at least to see that. We're going to go through the textbook, chapters 1 through 14. If you can read the textbook between now and next class, great. If you, that's the zoning textbook. It's how to zone. Okay? Anyone have the book here by any chance?
Yes.
Can you just wave it, please? Yeah, it's the red book. Big word zoning. If you can read chapters 1 through 14 between now and then, that's great. I understand you have 50 hours of work, 4 classes, kids, what have you, basketball playoffs, you know. The wedding's over, so you can't use that for an excuse. At the very least, though, I strongly suggest you buy the book, you have it here, because I'll work you through the book. At the end of the day, that book is not something you memorize for a test and throw away. It has to be part of your DNA. So that's written as basic as it can go. And then I will continue to discuss your final project, which we'll also discuss today. Now, I was talking about graded over here. And I don't want to say that my boss gave me a lecture, but I think he gave me a little lecture before class. When I taught this class before, it was much smaller. And I find when there's a smaller group of people, there's usually more A's than not, because we're kind of like going together in a framework or not, you know. But I don't think they want grade inflation. So I don't know where grades are, but what I usually do mentally, I try not to learn your names. It's not because I'm antisocial, it's not that I don't care. It's that I want to be able to see your work product, which is your final and paper, your final project, and view it as you as a student, not, oh, I know you, hey, you're a nice guy, we spoke, you know, I try to be. But with that said, what I normally do, because I can't help myself, I usually look at grades from this point of view. Women start at an A, and usually their performance brings them down to a B, maybe. Guys, unfortunately, you've got to start at a C, and you've got to work hard to come up. You know, that's just how I mentally break it down from that framework. So guys, you better bring your A game if you want an A. Girls, you want an A, you better bring your A game to stay there. You know, so the point of it is, no matter where you are now, you've got to work to end up there. And no, I don't do this. Just trying to, you know, work this through the afternoon break. Okay, with that said, let me pick on the guys, because the guys are the ones that have to impress me, because I am a chauvinist, and they start at the C's. So what guy would like to tell me where they're going to put the car dealership? US 1, here's Camino Real, Palmetto, Glades, Yamato. This is I-95 changes. You want to do it? I'll let you do it in a moment. The most important thing I said to you last week, even before you start with a comprehensive plan, even before you start with zoning, first thing you do, where am I? Am I in a city? Or am I in unincorporated county land? Okay? We happen to be in the city of Boca Raton, so the city controls. But if I said to you, I don't want my Mercedes dealership here, I want it out in Boca Raton and 441, well, that's the unincorporated county of Palm Beach, even though it has a mail-in address of Boca Raton. If you were to use the Boca Raton zoning code, you'd be absolutely wrong. Okay, so you can't get that wrong. You look stupid if you get the wrong thing. Okay, so you want to tell me where you're going to put that. Let's see if the green thing works. Okay, here. Where are you going to put the dealership?
58 North.
Oh, I don't know where that is. You just put the number 1 with a circle around it where you think it's going to be more or less. Well, that's I-95.
Okay.
That's US 1. No, keep my row. It's just to the side of it. Okay, right there, okay. So you're there. I just wanted you to put a circle with the 1, but that's fine. Okay, maybe come back. Any other guy want to show me where they would put the thing? No other guys? They're happy to see?
Yeah, me.
Okay.
I don't remember what is this.
More or less.
I know I found the land in...
Well, no, don't.
What is appraiser?
Don't put it on the board. Just roughly, is it where he is? Is it south of him? Is it across the street from him? Well, that's I-95. So if it's there, that's where you want it. I want it on the US 1 corridor.
US 1, yeah, it's
Here, US 1.
It's the US 1? Okay,
Yeah.
so somewhere here. Yeah.
Okay, so that's number 2. Okay.
Maybe a little more.
Well, is it south of Glades or north of Glades?
I don't know exactly.
You always want to know where you are.
For highway, yeah, I didn't...
Well, you're well north of Glades, because that's up in 69.
So it's more...
Yeah. So you're up by him. And make sure I get my cap back. Otherwise it'll dry out.
Well, maybe it's lying green a little.
You're north of Yamato, because Yamato's 62nd Street, so you're right north of Yamato. So you're up by where he is, I think, in that vicinity.
Okay.
Okay, that's close enough.
I'm going to put it here.
Okay, you put it there. Did you have my cap?
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you. Okay, ladies, would any lady like to tell me where they're gonna put my dealership? We have one, okay. Okay. Any other lady? Okay, this is now any man or any woman. Has anyone else decided, after doing their analysis, I really don't think you should go forward with this deal? And why not?
Because there's a dealership so close by.
Okay, so let me stop there. So you, remember I said there's three things you need to have lined up? Pro forma, the market, and your land use analysis. So it sounds like what you're saying, don't move forward from a pure market perspective because you think the market's flooded because there is a Mercedes-Benz dealership in Delray Beach, right?
But it's literally like a few
Okay, so
miles.
you're saying don't move forward because the market's flooded. Anyone else have another reason why not to move forward?
No, mine is a different perspective of how the dealership will be set up.
Okay, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Anyone think, look, if you want to pay me a whole boatload of money to build it for you, I will, but if you want me to tell you the truth, I wouldn't go forward.
There's no other dealerships in that area.
True. But any other reason why you would not want to do this?
It's not a permitted use.
Wait. I'm a land use lawyer. I'm a very anal retentive person. Are you telling me that a car dealership is not a permitted use?
In city of Boca.
Are you willing to bet your grade, and if you're wrong, you get a C for the class?
Wait, are you
What you
guaranteeing
said-
the C? Are you guaranteeing the C?
You're happy with the C?
That sounds like somebody's
Pay a boatload of money for a C? Okay, I'm being difficult because you need to use proper terminology. What you said was a car dealership is not a permitted use in Boca Raton in this area. Does anyone agree with that statement as he stated it?
No.
Well, I think that's what you said.
In a commercial district, I'm sorry.
Well, it has zone in there. Look, there's three things. You can either be a permitted use, not permitted, or a conditional use. What you said was a car dealership was not permitted. That means if I went to all the zoning districts of that land, all of them would have the word car dealership NP, not permitted. Don't think that's what it says. Can anyone help them out?
So, and then what's interesting is, I go to conditional uses and then.
Okay, so is it a conditional use? 'Cause I'm being difficult on purpose, because this is the time to learn before you get out there. When you start saying it's not a permitted use, people who know zoning are thinking it's not permitted. Now you're moving to conditional use. So what I'm trying to say to you, we got to be very careful with our terminology with what we're saying. I think I know where you want to go.
So I don't see it in the permitted use list, but they have it termed as car agents.
Okay, so the most important thing is always definitions, and I think what I said going into this, I don't know whether they call it B1, B2, B3 in Boca Raton, Business 1, Business 2, Business 3, or they call it C1, C2, C3, Commercial 1, 2, or 3. Every town is different, okay? Some places will call it restaurant, and then restaurant, comma, with drive-through. Others will call it fast food, withdraw, you know what I mean? So terminology is always critical, and they don't always move from jurisdiction to jurisdiction the same, okay? Let me come back to you, I'll pick on you now, okay?
Quick question, is a permitted use, is that synonymous with as of right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Or another way to look at that is as of right. What that means, it's no longer up to the elected officials to decide. An example I love to give, the difference between a permitted use and a conditional use. A 5-story apartment building and a 5-story hotel. On the outside, they look exactly the same. If you want to build an apartment building there, you don't need to come to the elected officials for their thumbs up and thumbs down. Go get a building permit. But if you want to do the hotel, it looks exactly the same, we're going to make you do a conditional use. Why? Hotels have greater impacts on the community. Where's the dumpster? Do you have special events? Where's the lighting? Where's the other thing? We're not saying no to it, we want to make sure you do these conditions. But if you wanted to put, let's assume a cemetery, making up something stupid, that's not a permitted use there at all. It's not even a discussion of what's committed. Okay, so does anyone else look at this work and say, my professional opinion, not being lazy, but my professional opinion is, I don't think it's a good reason or a good decision to put a Mercedes-Benz car dealership in East Boca Raton on the US 1 corridor. And if you don't feel we should, why? Yes?
Well, according to this one simple page that they have under car agencies, with all the restrictions that they give you, it really sounds like a boutique type of 6-car, 5,000 square foot under the permitted use. And in the conditional use, you don't know what you're going to get, and you can't park a car outside anyway. So I don't think it's a real good business plan unless you're going to go with the boutique.
Okay?
Okay, so my plan was actually in response to what he was saying. So then you could, like, what is your daughter called, the Boca Town Center?
The mothership.
The mothership. So
For
you can
retail.
actually put it close to the mothership, like Tesla did, and you could set it up as a showroom gallery, and then it would be
Yes.
zoned as a gallery, and then you would just offer home delivery, because I would assume that most people in Boca know what they want, and they just need it delivered.
They want what their neighbor has, but one step better.
Right, so
That's the
then they
definition.
probably zoned it, it's zoned as a gallery slash showroom, and it wouldn't be an actual
Because permitting
building.
doesn't even allow you to service it or anything in that zone anyway,
So it'd be a
so you
gallery.
might as well
And
give in to
with
the
the site
restriction.
that I found or whatnot, that's kind of what I had in my mind with that. It had to be like a virtual site, because it was, my site was only 7,200 square feet. So it would have to be a virtual.
A virtual
Zoned
show.
as a
Yeah, sure,
gallery.
yeah, because Boca customizes it exactly.
Because I was thinking the same thing you guys were saying, more so like a virtual showroom, like a video screen, say, let me pick this car.
You would do it like Tesla.
Like,
Have like
yeah.
cars.
Okay, let this gentleman speak since he was brave enough to go up to the board. Do you still want to explain to us why you have a car dealership there, and what does your car dealership have?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you have there for us?
So first I researched the closest Mercedes-Benz dealerships around Boca.
So you did a market study. Remember I said at the very start, the market, the finance pro forma, and then land use. So you did a market study.
So I went to CoStar. I don't know if anybody uses CoStar. I use it all the time. So
Well, explain that. What is that you're talking about?
CoStar is like the MLS for commercial real estate.
Okay.
But it's more research and analytics. So
Okay.
it's better than.
So you went to a database to see where there's other competition, basically.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
so I look at the Mercedes-Benz dealer in the REE Beach, and I noticed that.
Wait, you're supposed to spit on the ground when you say Delray Beach.
Sorry. And I noticed it was 9 acres of gross land, and the building itself was 3,600 square feet.
So you basically did some type of analysis of what the competition had, in Delray.
Exactly, yeah.
You assume that's probably what the market would need for a dealership. Then you try to extrapolate that over to Boca Raton as a minimum of what you would probably need.
Yeah, then I researched the one in Coconut Creek was 13.6 acres.
Minus a lake.
The one in Pompano was a little bigger, 17 acres.
But as we said last week, we all
Yeah.
have to be careful now because the industry's changing,
Right.
where smaller sites,
Exactly,
they
yeah.
put it on garages.
Yeah,
Well, Fort Lauderdale one's
exactly.
fine.
And all these buildings are, I mean, the sites are from, I mean, they were developed in 1953, so in 1997, the one in Coconut Creek. So,
So you did some good due diligence, as a good real estate professional should do, but it sounds like you were eager to run up to the board and suggest that I build a car
Yeah.
dealership.
and then I looked at the property appraiser all the way from north of Palmetto to the REE beach. And I think I found a potential site for.
Okay, so you think you found one?
I think I found it, yeah.
You went to the board
It's
first, I
so-
think, right? Why did you suggest my money should be spent on building a car dealership?
Well, Mr. Richman, I did not look at pro forma or the market. I strictly looked at the land use.
Okay, so you did one of the three.
Yep,
Okay, but based on your one of the three, you found a place.
yeah, so first thing I did was, look at the maps for the future use. Then I called the city, the zoning and planning.
Hope you didn't use my name.
Yeah, I did, actually. I asked him, I told him my conclusion was that there's no, as of right, areas in the city of Boca Raton that I can put a car dealership in. And I just wanted to confirm that, see if I missed anything. They confirmed that, they said, we'll do it conditionally. And then I read through the nearest dealerships over a mile, which was one of the requirements. My plan was to change over the shopping center because it was 4,800 square feet. Had to knock down the front part of it, but it can be converted. It's right in between the 4,000 square feet minimum show floor space, and it's right under the 5,000 square feet maximum. Yeah.
So your conclusion was what? When you were all said and done, how much acreage did you buy, and how were you gonna set up the car dealership? Because you actually found a location.
So, I'm pulling it up right now. So, there's currently a 24-hour grocery store on there. The building's comprised of two parts. One's like 3,200 square feet on the front. And I pulled that from the Palm Beach County property appraiser site. The second piece of it is, like I said, about 4,800 square feet. I saw that the floor plan would meet the regulatory requirements. My conclusion is that it fits the box.
Okay, the thing about Mercedes is you have a C-Class, an E-Class, an S-Class, you got all these other hybrids where you got many of them, you got the big engine, small engine. So to have the whole gamut of what the offerings are, you need about, let's say, 20 to 25 cars on display if you were to show everyone. Can we put those there?
No,
Nope, not in the
No
box.
nowhere to sit.
So, does anyone think that these two gentlemen that went up there have just wasted my money trying to think that we should build a Mercedes-Benz car
Well,
dealership?
my side is possible to do, but it's hard. You have to assemble 5 individual parcels into one.
Okay, so let's assume we do that.
But they're owned by the same
When it's all said and done, what are you gonna build there?
And also I did research on Mercedes-Benz, and apparently they won't be giving more licenses to open more dealerships in South Florida because
They're flooded.
the demand is not
Okay,
increasing.
but with what you've done though, can I put all 20 type cars that Mercedes has, the full gamut, from
No.
C to CLA?
Yeah.
Can I put them all in the front?
No,
Really
it
can't
will have to be a boutique.
At the end of the day, it results back to having
Make it happen.
a boutique, like
Yeah,
something
something
that's
that's
virtual,
virtual.
everything would have to be
Yeah.
virtual.
Okay, let me
And I
interject.
think my site would be the best.
When I was, good, good,
That's
good.
simple.
When I was here
1662
18 months
with the
ago,
address.
and I did the same thing to the students then, there was someone actually sitting right there. And I think what he did, he was so happy with himself. He found the zoning code. He found section 28-1302. And what he read, 28-1302, called car agencies, right? He read subsection A, and he said, okay, Boca Raton is special. They don't call it a car dealership, they call it a car agent. See, okay, fine. And he read the definition, and he said, that's what I want. So he read sub A, and he says they allow it. Then he went to sub 2. I'm sorry, he read sub 1, and he read the definition, he says they allow it. Then he went to sub 2, and he saw the different zoning districts that was allowed as a conditional use, the B4 and the C1. And he went ahead and then he found land that was on that corridor that was,
I found this, that's the one I found,
what's that?
the land.
Yeah,
There is a piece of land.
there is land.
There is.
Or
Okay.
B1 and B4,
Yeah.
it goes to Dixie.
Yeah.
It's
So
back to
he
the-
did that, and he did a beautiful thing with the layout. He sat there, and he thought I was going to give him the gold star. What that gentleman forgot to do was flip the page. Sub A, landscaping and screening. Basically, everything has to be in an enclosed 6-foot-high masonry wall that's smooth, and there has to be a 10-foot landscape buffer. I don't know about you, but when I think of the word car dealership, I think of driving on US 1, seeing 50, 60 cars in the lot, some of them with the hoods open, with the clown and balloon and hot dogs and all of that, right? Not blocked by masonry walls or landscape. I expect when they say, sub C, ready? No car shall be displayed or stored outdoors. Right? No paging. You're always supposed to be able to hear the advertisement. Hey, Louie, you got a customer on the phone. You don't relax. Sub G, no advertising devices. That means no balloons. Then you go down to 3A, no more than 6 cars are displayed in a fully enclosed building.
You could have said no dealerships.
That's what they're really trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And then they go down to this, 3C, the use shall not be located within 1 mile of another car dealership. Then you can't do any preparation, you can't do this.
We got a party.
So, that student went from, I'm Donald Trump, the next real estate developer, I'm gonna make a fortune, to he just wanted to crawl under the rug. The most important thing of me giving you this assignment, and you can write this down, ready? Read, read, read.
Oh my God.
You gotta read. One of the things I don't like about your generation is you're afraid to print something. Whenever I do a new deal, I go to a new jurisdiction, I print the zoning code out. I highlight it, I read it twice. I go to the definition section. How do you define something? The definition might mean I have to follow the code or not. There might be a section called exceptions. Imagine you're exempt. You don't need to do something. Read REE. The whole purpose of this was a trick assignment. Yes, I wanted you to know what we in the city or the county. Yes, I wanted you to look at the comprehensive plan. Yes, I wanted you to look at a zoning map. Yes, I wanted you to find this. But I needed you to realize what they're really trying to say is the following. We are Boca Raton. We don't want car dealerships. We don't want to look like Deerfield Beach to the south or Delray to the north. We don't want the balloons and the Saturday, circus. It's not what we want. Now, again, going back to last week's lecture, police power, government has to have a reason. You just can't say the following. We're Boca Raton, we don't allow car dealerships. What's the difference between a car dealership and, selling any other retail thing? So what you can do is you can put rules and conditions in place. So if you had a thing that said the following, we don't allow car dealerships in Boca Raton, you would probably lose that lawsuit. A judge is going to sit there and say, oh, you allow car dealers, right? Okay? Let's assume you're upset because you can't have your vision of 40 Mercedes in the front lot. You decide to bring the lawsuit. And you say, Judge, they don't let me have a car dealership. The judge is going to say, here you can, right here. You're allowed. It's a conditional use. Here are the conditions. And a judge is going to say the following. I'm not going to substitute my judgment for that of the elected officials of Boca Raton. This is this community they want. You've got to follow their rules. Let's skip from car dealerships to adult entertainment establishments. Grandmother hates them. Grandmother sits on the dais. She's elected mayor. If grandma says, in my town, we're not going to have Peter's Pleasure Palace. It's not going to happen. The city attorney is going to say, Grandma, you better get out a $10 million checkbook. We're going to lose that lawsuit. But what you do then, if you don't want what's known as a LULU, locally unwanted land use, you put it in a certain area. And you can say, a mile away from schools, a mile away from residential, a mile away from another one, if we don't want to consolidate. That's police power. The whole purpose of this exercise, besides you, and it's, both of you gentlemen did everything great. You did exactly what I want you to do.
Was it a read?
But then you got to read. So the people that did not rush to the front, because they said, I'm not going to put this. Now, if you go to the town center mall, Tesla has taken out a space maybe twice the size of this, and they have 2 cars there. And you go, and you say, I want that one or that one, and we'll sit there and we'll design it and we'll special order it.
I have a question. So when I was doing the research, and I did read and all that, I was like, I don't want a car dealership in this place at all. But I went the route of seeing what was for sale in the area. And I found a building that was a showroom in the downstairs and then had offices in the up. I thought to myself, it would be perfect if you did a showroom in the downstairs following their specifications like Tesla, and then you had a boutique of natural partners that these high-end Boca Raton people would come here as an upscale. It was already for sale, it was already pre-set for it because it had an entire, it was like a 14,000 square foot building. And you could do all of your extra money, income, for a rich guy investing in it with everyone upstairs and then showroom downstairs, and you didn't have the noise factor. It was just like, it was for sale. That's the route I went.
You did great.
Is that?
No, you did great, but as long as you realize these are the rules you got to play by.
Right.
The whole purpose of this was to throw at you.
To read.
So I went through the whole thing about being some social, retarded person that only Boca Raton people are special. I set the stage for you to try to please me. Quite frankly, if I need a new car, I'll go to Coconut Creek or Delray. I'm going to go where the best price is. I don't need to buy it in my own town. You know what I mean? No big deal. But I set the stage for you. to try to say, well, he really seems to want one here. Okay, he's gonna hold my grate in his palm, his hand, I'm gonna go get him one. And I wanted you to make sure you at least looked at Muni code, looked at what a zoning code comp plan was. Okay, you did some market analysis, which was great. Okay, you gotta make it work, that's a great thing. And yeah, assuming they're gonna allow another dealership, your building would be perfect if it meets these rules. Now, just so you know, there should be logic to rules, but there's not. And I think Tesla was sued, and I think they're somehow pushing back. I don't know the full outcome of it. It is illegal, I believe, in all 50 states for General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, Toyota to sell me a car directly. I'm forced to go through a dealer because of the politics that they've already got. Tesla is treading on new ground by doing what they're doing. I don't know how they got there. I don't know if it's because of the politics of, hey, we got to get away from fossil fuel burning engines. But what you would also have to realize is if you came back and said to me, oh, we're going to do it where Mercedes-Benz is going to come to Boca Raton directly, it's not going to be a dealer, they're going to sell it themselves to you, that may not be allowed based on a whole nother law. But that's why you go not to your brother-in-law or college buddy on Dixie Highway. That's why you go to Greenberg Traurig, Akerman, Holland and Knight. Because they have full-service law firms, and it's their job to tell you that. Okay? So all of you are correct with what you've done. The real correct answer, if you needed that, was I'm not going to go to the board and make a fool of myself. I don't think you should invest in it because the connotation of a car dealership, they don't really want you here. With that said, we could do what they've done at the mall, we could do what they've done at Tesla, we could do that building, and that's all great. But my job is to put this into your DNA. And the one thing I know is the gentleman who sat in that seat 18 months ago, for the rest of his career, he is going to read, and read. Because whenever I get a zoning code, a lot of times there'll be an intent section at the very start. It doesn't have the legal teeth, it kind of says, the intent of this section is to accomplish the following. Ooh, I don't want to do that. So right away I say, let me look at the exemption section. Is there a way to get me out from this? So I don't need to deal with this. If there's not, then let me look at the definitions. See, all of you, before you started to do this research, if I was able to get into your mind, which can be a scary thing to do, but if I got into your mind and I could take out what was in your mind when I said Boca Raton US 1 car dealership, most of you were probably thinking about 2 or 3 rows of asphalt in the front with cars, a showroom in the back, and then a repair dealership on the side. Because most of us, that's our connotation of a car dealership. Okay? I wanted you to go into this assignment with that connotation, but learning to read the rules. Now, this is a skip ahead for next week with the zoning book. What are our choices here if we still want to do this? Well, let's go to section 28-1302, subsection 2, where it lists the various zoning sections. I think there's 3 of them that are allowed. Let's assume you have a piece of property, okay, that's zoned different than these 3. This is the most important thing for you to write down. You have 2 main choices. One of them is kind of like running outside with no clothes on in the middle of Times Square where everyone sees you. That's called a rezoning. That's when you take your property that's zoned, let's say, B3, and now you want to be a B4? For you to go from a B3 to B4, you're butt-ass naked at a public meeting saying, I want to change my property. There's a public hearing, there's first reading, there's second reading, there's a staff report. It's putting all of the lights on you. You could do that. Sometimes you have to do that. There's something a little bit easier. It's called come in below the radar. Imagine it's the week. Most city commissions meet twice a month. My favorite time to go to elected officials, December 20th. While all of you are doing your holiday shopping and office parties, I'm there at City Hall adding a very simple amendment to section 28-1302 sub 2 that now lists RB1, comma, which is there. I insert B3, which is not there, and then it continues with B4 and C1. And it gets approved, and no one really knows why that was even on the agenda in the first place. And we all go have a good holiday. And then it's the new year. And I come in at the start of the new year owning B3 property, and guess what? I'm going to put a car dealership there. And the neighbors go, how did that happen? They weren't allowed to do a car dealership. They didn't do a rezoning. No. I changed the text.
So is it because of the holidays or because...
No, the point was I didn't want people to know what's going on.
Right.
What I'm trying to say to you,
You amended it, you didn't.
I amended the text. Look, here's my property.
Do you have to go through a legal process to do that?
Yeah, I do, but this is the difference. Here's my property. I want to put a car dealership here. My property's zone B3. Forget about all the other negative limitations that the city has. Make believe they're like any other city, they let you have it. But Boca Raton does not let you have a car agency in a B3 zone, is that correct? Right? They only list 3 things. They list in the B4. I have 2 choices. I can put a big yellow sign on my property that says public hearing, rezoning request. I can then be forced to mail 500 feet mail notice to everyone that I'm trying to change my property from B3 to B4. The whole world knows that I'm trying to do something. We have public meeting. You gotta have 2 public hearings to get properties rezoned. All these neighbors know about it. They come out because I'm trying to go from here to here. Okay? I don't want to do that because I know they're going to stop me because they don't want a car dealership. So it doesn't need to be around the holiday times, but the holiday times is good because people aren't focused. If I'm doing a text amendment to the zoning code where I'm just changing the code, not my property's zoning designation, and all I do is I skip in I think right now, RB1, B4, C1, you're allowed a car agency, right? Whatever it says. I just slipped in, there's 20 things on an agenda. I just added that as an amendment. These people don't know that I'm the one doing it. They don't know the one that I'm even thinking about this. They don't get special mail notice. I don't put signs on my property. It just gets processed. Because I paid $5,000 to the local land use lawyer who's a specialist in that town, Charlie Seaman or Lenny Wasson, or a couple of other ones. And they just process it. It just gets processed. And it's public meeting, and it gets approved.
What's the name of that process?
It's called a text amendment to the zoning code. Text amendment. Going from here to here is a rezoning of my property. Here, no clothes on, I want to do this, everyone see? And 2 times, 2 public meetings. Everyone gets a chance to complain about that. A text amendment is you change the rules without you being in the spotlight. Now,
How often that happens? Text amendment to a zoning code?
happens all the time. Now, it may not be because there's some hidden agenda like this. It could be because staff thinks they should have it because it's good for the community. You have to realize planners aren't necessarily going to let me sneak this through. But again, sometimes the city changes it because they realize they have a scrivener's error. Okay? Now, there's always the same 10 people in every town that look at this with a lot of scrutiny, but at least they don't necessarily know it's me, because I'm not the one pushing it. It's my land use attorney, and he doesn't need to say who his client is. What I'm trying to get you to realize here, and want to get to this really a lot next week, there's multiple ways to skin that cat, as they say. Sometimes I like to come in below the radar, change the rules, wait the 31 days before I do anything, because you want to make sure 31 days go by so no one can then file a lawsuit against this. Now it's as good as golden. Now what I've done, I might have gone from a non-permitted to permitted, or I've gone from non-permitted to at least a conditional use. But I got what I want. That's why you hire a good land use attorney. And a good land use attorney is going to say the following. You're the business person, you're the real estate guru. What do you want to accomplish? Tell me what you want to accomplish, and I'll figure out the best way to get there. Okay? Now, go on.
I'm sorry. How extreme have you seen those changes, though, in the zoning? Like as a text amendment, have you seen like a...
Let me put it like this. It's how business gets done.
Okay.
And if you have the votes, and if the right checks are written, and if you say, look, just go along with it, I'm trying to create value, well, it's going to do it right. Oh, you want Mercedes-Benz in your town? This is how we have to do it. Let's be located. And if you go to 3 of the 5 elected officials, you don't go to all of them because you know the 2 that would open their mouth and try to stop it. Let them figure it out. So they're going to get their agenda package on a Thursday night before a Tuesday meeting. There's a lot of stuff in that. If they have a question, staff could say, oh, we're just allowing more business growth opportunities. Without even mentioning the word, per se, car age. You know what I mean? You know, it happens all the time because you can't remove the political aspects of this. What you need to know right now, to rezone your property, to change the map from from B3 to B4 is a very big process. I know this might be politically correct, but it's the equivalent of, I no longer want to be a man. I want to be a woman. It's, and everyone, I'm now the new Kate Jenner, right? You can't hide that. It's that big of a thing because they make you put signs on your property. They make you send mail notice to everyone around so they know exactly what you're up to. Okay? So, the learning to take away from this, besides read, is start to do your mental checklist. Am I in the county or the city? First thing. What property do I own? What is its comp plan? What is its zoning? That's when you own the dirt already. What can you put there? The flip is that I don't own land yet, but I want to come to your town and I want to do something in your town. Where can I do it? Well, what do you want to do? I want to do this or I want to do that. Okay, well, let's look at what the code allows. When I use the word zoning code and the word zoning text, it's one and the same. Just to be real clear, there's 2 things. We have a zoning map, and then we have a code or a zoning text. Sometimes they're called LDRs or ULDRs. Stands for Land Development Regulations or Unified Land Development Regulations. We're going to get to this next week. Your assignment is to look solely at a zoning code. There's the zoning code. There's the subdivision code. There's the site plan approval code. There's the right-of-way code. There's the landscape code. Wouldn't it be nice to have the same definition throughout? Wouldn't it be nice to have them all interrelated? Well, as government started, they had 5 different things, and it was crazy, until they then said, you know what, let's hire a consultant, and let's consolidate them in a uniform basis. So good cities have what's known as ULDRs, Unified Land Development Regulations. It's all one and the same. But at this point, I want you just to understand, there's the zoning map, and then there's the words. You figure out what you want, a land use lawyer can help you get there. Any questions on this? Sometimes the learning is in going through the process, not looking for a right or wrong answer. I wanted you to say, have that aha moment. Okay?
Can you still get away with a car dealership by applying for zoning variances? Or
No,
would it be too difficult because you have too many?
There must be something about that seat, because whoever sits in that seat when I teach,
They don't want you.
That's a hot seat.
this is the problem with what he said, just like I was trying to pick on you when you said not permitted. This is the problem, ready? I know the mayor, I'm going to get a variance. A variance is a term of art, okay? And you need to have criteria met for a variance. The biggest one is a hardship that can't be self-imposed. The typical way to get a variance is we write a code based on the assumption that every lot in a residential thing is a rectangle. And you do setbacks based on a rectangle. But what do you do on the corner lot that's a triangle? You can't really meet the code. We're going to give you a variance there because to apply the code to a triangle-shaped lot or pie lot means you can't develop because you can't meet because you don't really have 4 sides anymore. You only have 3. A variance is a technical thing that 99% of the time should never be granted because there's never really a hardship. What you really want is a political fix to do what you want, and you call it a variance. But I was in Palm Beach with the town mayor the other day. They give variances out like you give candy to kids. And they approve variances when they're not really variances because no one really has the hardship. But what they're really trying to do, they're really trying to say, remember this is the rich side of the room? They don't want you coming to Palm Beach, building this big mega mansion. Look how rich I am. I got my big bonus and it doesn't fit. So they make everything be a nonconformity. They make you go through so many hurdles as a way to keep everyone honest in a way. And as I told the city town manager, I said, I think 95% of your variances you approve are illegal because they don't meet the criteria. But people will continue, even professionals, say, oh, let's get a variance. We'll talk about that. But when you leave this class, I will come point you down the rest of your career if you ever say, oh, we get a variance. Okay? You need to know not permitted, permitted, conditional use, special exception, variance as of right. These are term of arts, and you need to understand them. Okay? There aren't that many, but you need to be really focused on that. We'll go through that. I mean, that's more next week. What I did say was permitted as of right. Permitted as of right means we're not going to beat you up politically, go get a building permit. not permitted means, there's no variance for non-permitted. If it's not permitted, it's not permitted. Okay? Conditional use, special exception is the example I gave you. You want to put a hotel, not the apartment building. We're not saying no, but we want to look at where the dumpster is. We want to look where the light is. Higher hurdle. A variance is what most people think, oh, I'll just go around the rules, I'll get a variance. Well, technically that should be in the most limited framework, whether it's a variance or a waiver. Okay, anything else we need to talk about on this? Everyone get the idea? Okay, let's talk about comprehensive plans. You need to understand that this may not be a fair assumption, but I'm going to make believe, as I said last week, all of you want to pour a lot of concrete, throw up a lot of steel and glass, and make a lot of money. The people that write comprehensive plans that I teach at FAU in the Urban and Regional Planning Department, they want to create a public realm so people can walk and hand hold it. So people can ride a bike, so there can be green space for Bambi. Bambi. You ever see the movie Bambi? You know what I used to say, but I don't do this anymore because it's politically incorrect, especially what happened yesterday and what happened in Parkland. I used to teach in 2011, and I would be the first day in class, and I said, if you want to work for me, you've got to shoot Bambi's mother. Are you willing to shoot Bambi's mother, yes or no? If not, you don't work for me. That's when the movie started. Bambi's mother got shot by a rifleman, and Bambi's alone. But if you can't take that shot and not blink an eye, not have any heart pain, then you can't be a real estate developer. Okay, so let's make believe for a moment none of us get squirmish. We can all take that shot, because we're here to make money. But what I'm trying to make this seem, if you don't understand the contrast, is the people they teach at FAU, I don't even say it's a joke anymore, because they're not going to laugh. They want to preserve Bambi and Bambi's mother and have more Bambi-ettes, okay? And they want to have green space. Okay, so my point is, you need to know their terminology, because at the end of the day, remember I said you need the 3 votes? It's very simple. If I put you in a river, in a kayak, or a paddle boat, we all know it's easier to go downstream with the current behind your back as you get in water than try to go upstream, right? Okay, why make your life easy? I'm sorry, stop. Why make your life difficult? If you want to get your 3 votes so you can build, so you're going back to that timeline, get through that process, you want a positive staff recommendation from the city planning and zoning department. You want to go to the planning and zoning board or planning commission. You want a positive recommendation from them. You want the community in general to not want to tar and feather you. You want them to support your project. So by the time you get to the elected officials, you're not getting 3 out of 5. You're getting 4 out of 5. Maybe 5 out of 5. We play the game. You go to a commissioner and they say, look, Peter, I love your project. I think you have your votes. I know I can't talk to you about that because of sunshine law, but I think you're in good shape. So Peter, I'm going to vote against your project because I think you're going to be okay. Because I'm up for re-election. And I need to look like I'm tough on the developer. In a closed door, you can say what you want. But what I can't say in a closed door, if you're an elected official, and he's elected official, he's elected official, I can't tell you what they said. Because that's violation of the sunshine. That's me being a conduit. But what I do, when I get to see you, I say, sorry that you're the last person of the 5 that I had to see. No disrespect intended, but I'm feeling good. What did I just say? I got my votes. I didn't say I spoke to you. I didn't say I spoke to you, I didn't say how you voted. I made it clear that I've already walked the hallways. I come in gloated. I'm doing good. Everything's the gray. But the point is, what I can't say is, hey, you're the last, Jack's a problem, okay? But I got Bill and I got Steve and I don't have the other one, therefore I really need you. That is illegal, okay? It's illegal even if you have your lobbyists do that. Okay, you don't want to put anyone in that situation. And when I used to be a land use lawyer, not a developer, I had to teach that to my clients. Because my clients don't know the Florida Sunshine Law. They're a big New York developer. They come in and they want to do everything that's wrong. Okay? So you got to learn what you can and can't say. Because at the end of the day, the elected officials are supposed to make their decision at a public meeting based on the facts, not the backroom deal.
What's the benefit of going to the fifth? Like you were just saying, you're going to her. She's the fifth commissioner.
Well, this is the
I already
thing.
got it
This is the
pretty
thing.
much settled.
If you follow our president, and I was listening to all of the commentary of people who attack him, put aside his outrageous stuff, this is what they say. It says about a lot of people, not just our president. They say, whoever got to his whisper in his ear last is what's coming out of his mouth. So if I got to him in the morning, concrete's good, we're going to build. Yeah, concrete's good, he's tweeting. You get to him in the afternoon, we got to say Bambi, that's what's coming. You know, so you never know until you get there. You never know the politics. Let me tell you how it is. Let's pick on President Obama for a moment. He had a tough situation. He wanted to keep the unions happy, okay? Because unions are democratic, and that's part of his base. He wanted to keep the environmental people happy, because environmental people are usually Democrats, want to keep his base happy, right? He's in the middle, and something comes along called Keystone Pipeline, where they want to bring a big pipeline from Canada to Texas to bring more fossil fuel in. Okay? He wants to get reelected. This is one of the things on his plate. All the Democratic Union people are saying, hey, President Obama, we want you to support the Keystone Pipeline. Jobs, 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 good jobs, union jobs. All the environmental people, President Obama, we put you there. We need you to stop that pipeline because it's going to destroy our environment. He's in the middle. Who gets to him last? He's a smart man. He's a lawyer. What does he do? He kicks the can down the road beyond the election cycle, so he doesn't make a decision. Okay? So, good, I got rid of that one, but it's not going away. Then he kicks it down a little bit more to get through the midterm elections. Then he kicks it off to his Secretary of State, and then they make the decision, no, we're not going to do it, sorry, union, as they're leaving out the door before Trump comes in. Trump comes in, Keystone Pipeline, we're going to do it. There's the politics. You never know who gets to who at what end.
So do you go to the hardest commissioner last, or?
Well, really, the reality of it is it's whenever you can schedule them.
Right.
Because you've got to get to them. Now, quite frankly, if there was this one commissioner, she's no longer elected. She made her purpose in life to make me look bad, because I'm a developer. And if you saw us battling, you know, it looked like, you know, Hatfields and McCoys. Sometimes I wouldn't even bother to go see her. But then I see her at the airport. Peter, give me a big kiss. It's so good to see you. It's a gamesmanship that's going on. You try to do whatever you can. Now, this is the most important thing. Let's assume this young lady fully supports me. She has my back. My job, whether I'm the client,
Actually, I do.
She wants that A. She wants But my job, whether I'm the land use lawyer or the developer, is to never let her be embarrassed. And I said the following: thank you for your support, I'm glad you're there, yes, you see all the benefits of my project. Let me tell you some of the weak holes that I do have. I want you to know, yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of environmental damage in that left corner there, but we're gonna mitigate that. So when you hear that from the other side, it's okay, we've taken care of it. And you know what, we try to reach out to that certain neighborhood, they wouldn't even let me put a doghouse on my own property. So when you hear negative from them, they're the crazies. My job is to never have you be embarrassed, because you never know how the things change, you know?
So before you go to that public hearing, you got to be confident of that.
Yeah, I never go to a public hearing unless I know I have my votes in my pocket, but even then, you never know who got them. Now, there's a certain lobbyist in Fort Lauderdale, I won't mention her name. She runs a lot of campaigns for people early on. She's the only person in town who has the power to come to a public meeting, sit there in the front row, and just be in the room. And that takes all the air out of the room. Because she's the one who runs the campaigns for these people. People throw money at her because she can quietly get votes. You never know how things get done. I mean, the president that I support, it's hard to support him when I thought on Monday I'm supposed to be anti-China, anti how bad they are, they're doing all this fair trade, and then on Tuesday he's tweeting, we're going to help the Chinese CRT because we're losing Chinese jobs. And it's like, you know, I don't know if my neck hurts from the yoga or from him going. You never know the politics of it. You never know how it gets there. So that's the point. But my point is, this is the update that the city of Fort Lauderdale did for their comprehensive plan. This is the stuff that you need to feel comfortable with, because this is the rules that they set. Okay? We're going to teach you how to make money, how to do a pro forma. We're going to teach you how to get through the process. We're going to teach you how to do a market study. We're going to teach you all the good technical stuff. But you need to have a sense of planning, because it's kind of like, if you remember the PowerPoint that I had, the salt and pepper, the peanut butter and jelly, the Corona and lime, you can't take the two out. So I want to go through this a little bit, and I want to give you a framework. And if you have this, I'm on pages 1 and 2. I believe people put things in the order that's most important to them. Okay? You know, I'm not a very nice person. I don't try to be nice. But you know what I do? I talk to my neighbor to the left, and I talk to my neighbor to the right. And I make sure they know me for one very selfish reason. If the house is on fire, my wife is going to run into the house, get our 3-pound little Maltese puppy, and run out of the house to save the dog. I need my neighbors to say, hey, where's your husband? Because my wife's going to say, thank you, God, I saved the dog. Oh, no, the house is burning. I need someone to at least think of me. My wife just flew back in today from Asheville. She flies with the dog in the plane. As I'm leaving to come down here, hi, honey. And, you know, the dog, her life's happy. She's got her dog. What I'm saying by that, by analogy, on pages 1 and 2, look at number 8. Number 8 says economic opportunities. Chapter 9 is just a summary of chapter 1 and 8. So basically, when they wrote this document, they put economics last. This is a business school where you put economics first. When Mayor Bloomberg of New York City was doing the big comp plan for New York City, they put economics first. Good Republican billionaire, make money, make money. Mayor de Blasio takes over, rewrites the code, put social justice first. So, I mean, the other mayor had it there, but I think you got to say to yourself, gee, I'm from the Nova Southeast University Real Estate Development Master's Program. I care about money. Gee, they put that at the end. That's not good for me. Chapter 1's an introduction, so that's kind of neutral. Let's look at Chapter 2, climate change. If you're a developer, that's not a good thing. That's people saying to you, don't develop your high-rise condos on the beach, even though you can make a fortune. That's not helping you. Chapter 3, sustainability. That's even worse. The textbook definition of sustainability is my generation takes what I need, and I make sure there's enough for your generation. But I can tell you as a real estate developer, no one who's a real estate developer, when they hear the word climate change and sustainability, are doing high fives. You know those little hairs in the back of your neck? Do women have them too? I know men do. But you know how they start to curl up a little bit?
Yeah.
That's the cringe that I get, because that's not good. So that means the first 2 chapters are not good for us. Okay? Chapter 4, infrastructure. Well, that could be neutral. You know, the only thing that President Obama and President Trump agreed on was infrastructure. And this is the sad thing. President Obama said the following for 8 years. Our infrastructure's crumbling. We need to fix our airport bridges, our utilities, our thing. And he was saying the T word. We need to spend $1 trillion. Trump comes in, says the same thing. The only difference? $1.5 trillion. Not that he wants to spend more. The fact that we wasted 8 years of not doing it, we have to spend $1.5 trillion just to do what President Obama wanted to do. Bridges fall down. I'm fixing my condo on the beach that I live at because it's a 40-year recertification. Concrete crumbles. Post-tension cables snap. We live in when I go back to New York, I feel like a third world country. You know, but we can't agree on that. I'll tell you why. I think you've gotten a sense that I might be a Republican. But one of the bad things about the Republicans are the ones in the Midwest. You know why? They don't, well, no, they have some bridges, but most of them in the Midwest, the good Republicans, they don't worry about urban centers. Everyone has a Suburban or a pickup truck, Ford F-150, highways. So when they hear about, let's do mass transit, let's fix the infrastructure, they think, why am I going to help those liberal Democrats in the urban cities? So they vote down mass transit. You know, the bright line that we have, that's not going to solve anything. You know, I've been here for 25 plus years. No one really rides Tri-Rail, but it's great. I actually, when I flew to London and Paris with urban planning students in March, I left Deerfield Beach, got on Tri-Rail, went right into Miami Airport. It was perfect. I'm waving at the cars on I-95 that are bumper to bumper. Mass transit works. When I was in London and Paris, it was great to get around. We're so far away, and because we can't agree on it because of the divisions that we have. So, but going back to that thing I gave you about the Galleria Mall being redone, the big thing now is this expression, I think you've come home to roost. And this is what the story is in Fort Lauderdale. We've let the developers for so long buy the elected officials and build, 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 build. Not only do we have traffic, we have infrastructure that doesn't work. So no more developers. Okay, fine, let's take that approach. Well, who's going to fix the problem? Can we raise your taxes to fix that? Oh, no, 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 I don't want to pay more taxes. Okay, well then how about we allow more development and have them help fix the infrastructure? Well, that's the argument we're trying to make. But the bottom line is, that's the tough issue now in Fort Lauderdale. Especially with King Tide, where you got $1 million homes, multi-million-dollar homes that flood, not because of sea level rise per se, it's bad infrastructure, it's the moon, it's the waters coming up. We gotta fix the problem. So going back to the table of contents, housing. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but guess what I figured out? I know how to solve hunger and homelessness. Ready? If they're hungry, feed them. And if they don't have a house, shelter them, right? I just figured it out. Right? The problem is who's going to pay for it? Okay? So this is the problem. You own oceanfront land. You want to build a 20-story luxury tower. Okay? You want to sell units starting at $3 million, going to $15 million. In a lot of cities, they're going to say, yeah, but 20% of your units have to be affordable. What's that? You know, I'm going to have units start at $3 million to $15 million, but I got to have some units that are down at $212,000. What are they going to have, a broom closet? Oh no, well, if you're not going to build it on site, then we need you to write a big check to go into the housing fund. And I say, well, wait a minute. Why are you picking on me? I don't want to do 100 units. Okay? I didn't cause the homeless problem over here. Why don't you just tax everyone and let them fix it and let me build my building? And that's the big issue. Now, when I go to Asheville, North Carolina in the summer, they're so liberal there, they actually passed an $80 million bond where the citizens said, we're going to sell bonds to Wall Street, we're going to take the $80 million in, we're going to agree to pay it back through higher tax revenue, and we're going to take half that money and help the homeless, and help the people that aren't even here yet who are homeless, because we're going to invite them on in. Well, because that's a liberal type town. Seattle, San Francisco, Asheville, Boulder do things like that. Boulder just basically told the NRA, we're not letting you have any more rifles. You know, we're so divided. My point of it is, all you want to do is build your luxury condo tower. And there's people out there saying, yeah, but we have to do affordable housing. Well, let's assume you want to do a retail establishment or an office building. You're saying, wait a minute, I want to build an office building on Broward and 3rd in downtown Fort Lauderdale, right by the federal courthouse. There's a vacant land there. I want to build that. That's all I want to do. And you're making me do affordable housing? Wait a minute, I don't even have any housing myself on my building. I just want to do office. And they say, no, 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 but you don't understand. There's something called connectivity. You are going to build your office building. Okay? Well, who's going to clean your office building? Well, the janitor. Well, where's the janitor going to live? Well, you have to help provide a house for that janitor. And then who's going to maintain the building, electricity and heat? Well, the AC maintenance people. Well, you've got to help pay for them. And they do a connectivity study. They also do this with residential. And they say the following. You sell $1 million condo. That rich person who's in that $1 million condo, we need 20 people in the community to help service that person. Just think about that. You just bought $1 million condo. You're going to go down to Home Depot and Lowe's to buy stuff to put in your unit. Well, where are they going to live? Okay, you're going to need to go to restaurants. Where are the people going to live that serve the food? And they start doing the connectivity. The government starts saying, Mr. Wealthy Real Estate Developer, whatever you want to build, we think you should do your fair share. And if you've been following what's been going on in Seattle, a lot of homeless people in Seattle. So you have Amazon that creates a lot of jobs, and they start doing a head tax. And they start saying, okay, we have homeless people, you're Amazon, you've got a lot of billion, we're going to start taxing you $500 for every employee that you have. Okay? Yes, you're creating a job, but now we want you to pay a tax so we can now help the homeless. So what I'm saying to you, when government starts doing social engineering, it's not a bad thing. Look, this is Saturday. The religion that I follow, we worship on a Sunday. On a Sunday, I should be worried about social issues in housing. But on a Saturday, I'm worried about my bottom line pro forma. Government getting involved on these social issues is never good for you as a developer. It's not. Because it's only going to affect your bottom line. And if there's three things you need coming in, market study, pro forma, land use analysis, they're taken from you. But again, at the same time, it's real hard to sell $1 million condo to a rich person if there's a drug addict, homeless person on the steps on the street. So everything is a balance. All I'm saying to you, this ain't necessarily trying to help your world. This is a major hurdle you got to deal with. Let's move on to transportation. We all know there's too many people here. We all know there's too much traffic. Okay? And your building's going to cause voice traffic. So they would like you to somehow fix that. Okay? The only good thing in this entire list is number 7. It's a buzzword. And you need to know this buzzword so you sound intelligent. And this is how you go into a public meeting. I'm sorry, not a public meeting, but say you go to a staff meeting. And you don't say the following: I want to build a big concrete tower and make a whole bunch of money. You say, I would like to build a residential building that's compatible with the community and neighborhood. And the space around it, we're going to get the right land planners, and we're going to create a sense of place. When they hear that, they spark up. It's like, you know how when you have like that taser and the cops have it and they tap someone and they, when you say sense of place to an urban planner, wow, they like that. Learn their terminology. We're going to create a sense of place that welcomes everyone. Okay, because even though our building might be for wealthy, the public area around is really for the entire community, because we have that sense of justice. When they hear that, we can all have that joy tear coming down. But you need to act like you at least care to a point, or at least know the terminology, because that's what they're thinking about. Okay? Before I met my wife, I was thinking about what we're going to do 3 hours from now. My wife was thinking about, is he going to marry me? Is he going to take care of me? Is he going to be a good father to my kids? I just met her. I'm thinking about 3 hours from now. We have a whole different mindset. You know, men from Mars, women from Venus. Okay? Trying to make a point, not trying to be completely chauvinistic. But that same analogy of, like, I did hot yoga today at 8:30 in the morning. And as I'm leaving, the girl that's a dear friend of mine who's next to me, she wasn't there. But she took the later class. I said, oh, you okay? She says, I had to watch the royal wedding. Well, now guys, I'm not going to ask any guy, but I don't know that many guys that had to get up to watch the royal wedding. I'm not hardwired. It wasn't.
I didn't even know there was a royal wedding.
Yeah, there is, okay? But my point of it is, just like certain people think this way, planners think different than you. They're not here. But you gotta be respectful, because what'll happen, there's something called neighborhood compatibility. And you want staff to think that your project is compatible with the neighborhood. And that's not absolute science, okay? You want to be a good developer, so you get a positive staff report where they tip the scale in your favor. And you just can't learn 10 words, not really care, and think you're going to go in and fake them, because people can see through that. But you too got to put some planning stuff into your DNA. What I suggest you do, when I was your age, in the development industry, I would go to all of the ULI conferences, Urban Land Institute. Now that I'm a planner, I don't do that as much. I go to the APA, American Planners Association things. But I think you should try once a year or once every 2 years to go to a ULI conference. Because ULI members understand development, they're there for development, but they appreciate planning and they bring it in, and it's a good framework. Now, if you can ever get to an APA conference, American Planners Association, they'll let you in, and you'll learn a lot of planning. It's not a bad thing to do. But at least, you know, I look at it like this. There's the meat and there's the vegetables. The meat for you people is the ULI. The vegetables would be the APA, American Planners Association. If you're not going to get your vegetables, at least get the meat. But you need to understand this in a relationship, because they're the ones who write staff reports. They're the ones who, just like I'm trying to whisper to the elected officials, they're the ones who also speak to the elected officials, because the elected officials will call them. And if you're the planning and zoning director or the planner assigned to this, they're going to call you. What's going on with Peter's project? Oh, that guy's arrogant. Do you realize he's in charge of Trump 2024, third term re-election? He's not a good person. Do you want that being said? Or do you want, oh yeah, he was in my office. You know what? Yeah, I know there's a lot of height and density, but Commissioner, listen to me. He's creating a sense of place. He's going to mitigate traffic, and he's going to make a contribution to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, even when it's not required. So when you hear the people complain it's too high, too tall, Commissioner, I want you to know there's some other stuff going on that's good. Because it's the behind-the-scenes stuff you're never going to know. You're never going to know why you got shot down. Okay, so my suggestion is you've got to learn this planning stuff. So let me skim through this a little bit. All of you, in my opinion, should read pages 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's a great overview of the whole thing. It's real basic, pages 3, 4, 5, and 6. I told you how to get it online. It's on the city's website. They break it down. But look at page 6 if you have it. They talk about the triple bottom line. We don't have a triple bottom line at the Nova Southeast University Business School. We have a single bottom line, and it's measured in dollars, right? That's what we think about. If I was your finance teacher, and I gave you a project, I would say, show me your pro forma. If I was your boss, I would say, how much money are you going to make me? Single bottom line. Planners don't think like that. They think about the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line on page 6, last paragraph, social, economic, and environmental. So what I'm trying to say to you, I wish I could teach you to make a boatload of money, and that's all we focus on. But if you want to go out there and get your projects approved, you need to understand that the people who are going to hold you in judgment of your project have a different framework than you. Their sense of measures and boundaries are different. They're thinking about the social impact to the community and the environmental impact. Everyone get that as a concept? I'm not going to give you the answers. I'm just telling you that that's what they're looking at. If you go through this report, you'll see a lot of great maps. One thing that you need to know in whatever city jurisdiction you're involved with are the following initials. Ready? GIS. Geographic Information Systems. If you were getting a degree in urban regional planning, you would actually learn GIS, how to produce things. You don't need to do that here. But what's happened now is GIS has become so common in government and they make it so user-friendly for citizens that on the home page of a city's website, or at least the sub-home page for the Planning and Zoning Department, would be a lot of their GIS files. That all you have to do is open up with a click. And it gives you a lot of data. Where the crime is, where the traffic is, where the bad soils are, where the homeless is, there's a lot of data. Where what we've done, we've taken all of the data you would want in a community, we've overlaid it onto maps. So you should be able to access that just by opening a PDF. It's a lot of information. It allows you to see things like here, page 9. This is their flood map. You can look at the entire city of Fort Lauderdale and say, I don't want to be there. You know what's ironic? I don't know if I said this last week. There's people going in Miami-Dade County buying up Liberty City, which is the worst economically challenged part of the county. Buying up for one reason. Maybe God gets the last laugh. It's the higher elevation. So someday you might be doing oceanfront condominiums in Liberty City.
He's right next to Waywood's. After Waywood,
Yeah.
what was left is Alabama and Liberty City.
In Lehigh, they call it Lehigh for a reason. Lehigh Acres in Fort Myers?
Yeah.
Because it's the highest ground in all of Lee County.
Yeah. Well, let's look at page 12. If you have it, we'll look at it. And this is one of the things this is what I think you, as a non-engineer, need to at least get a common sense on. There's a lot of things that you, as real estate people, have to know a little bit of engineering, a little bit of planning, a little bit of everything. You look at the first picture, where they have roads and yards for people, and then it rains, and you have the storm water, and then water goes under the ground, gravity does what gravity does, and it takes all this rainwater out to sea, because the pipe is higher than the level of the saltwater ocean. Ah, good, it works, gravity works. That was the original infrastructure that we've done. The problem now with sea level rise is if salt water gets higher, when we have flooded, we can't get the stuff out so it comes back. So to me, this is one of those picture tells 1,000 words. So you need to at least, if you're going into a meeting, and you know that you're going to get some pushback on your project because of infrastructure challenges, and you hire an engineer, you need to make sure you at least have some understanding so you can have the discussions. Because let me tell you my greatest problem with engineers. In fact, I usually coach my engineers before going into a government meeting. I say the following. If you want me to pay your bill, you're going to keep your mouth shut. Because what's going to happen, the government's going to say, we would like you to do A, B, and C. And I'm going to say, oh, that's impossible. We can't do A, B, and C. And I kick my engineer. Engineers want to solve problems. They go, oh, we can do that. Yeah, we could solve the problem. I don't want to pay for it. So don't try to be nice to those people. And I say, look, I can do A. But no, B and C, that's beyond best practices. Okay? But you need to have a framework, because at the end of the day, remember I said, what does real estate people do? They're the conductor. You're going to go meet with government staff. You're going to have a traffic issue, you bring your traffic engineer. You're going to have an environmental issue, you bring an environmental consultant. Whoever it is, you bring that consultant, but you have to be the person leading it. And I used to hire Kimley Horn, which is the best traffic engineer firm. And I taught them something that I can't believe they haven't figured it out on their own, but now I think they use it. I was doing a project in Fort Lauderdale, and they had all this great ratios of analysis. And I took a step back as the business person. I knew the rich people over here were going to complain about my project. They were going to go to the public meeting, they were going to complain. And I got up first and spoke, and I said, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner, guess what? My project will cause more traffic. Let me say that again. My project will cause more traffic, and it will inconvenience these rich people, my neighbors. Usually the developers don't say that, right? And then I said, you know what? We've done the homework. It's going to inconvenience them 1.7 seconds every time they're at the light. So let me ask you, should we not move forward and provide housing for our citizens? Should we not